Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, the new brand in sports entertainment. We're wrestling and proud of it. And now, the hottest new podcast in the world. This is Awesome. Your host, Chris Graham.
This is Awesome. I'm your host, Chris Graham. Big show for you today. Our guest today, Mohammad Akbar. Mohammad will be taking on Fit Finley at the Awesome Night of the Superstars in Woodstock, Virginia, September 17th, and then October 15th. Big match at the Awesome Night of Legends show. The huge card we have there in Fishersville, Virginia. He'll be taking on Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and so a couple of big matches for Mohammad, a chance for Mohammad to make a name for himself here in AWE as he sets his sights on the big time and AWE wrestling. And so Mohammad will talk with us about that. And, you know, if you saw our Shooting Straight interview with Mohammad from back in earlier in the year, you'll know this will be fun in a lot of ways. Mohammad is not short of opinions, and no question that will be an interesting interview. So Mohammad Akbar, and then we'll have, in another segment on the show, Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton's been making some news here. We had an interview with him here in the AWE offices. We're actually running it over several parts because it was a lengthy interview, about 45 minutes in all. And Ricky, of course, he's in that big main event at AWE Awesome Night of Legends in Fishersville on October 15th. The Rock and Roll Express taking on Kevin Nash and Doug Gibson. And we're going to talk with Ricky, you know, over the next few days with these interviews that we did earlier in the week. And as we're parceling them out there, we're talking with him about the origins of the feud with Doug and with Kevin, and you know, how all this came down, and you know, sort of, I guess, where things are going with this. And we're going to share with you a snippet from one of the interviews where we talk with Ricky about his beef with Kevin Nash, and it's interesting. We'll get more into that, but we'll give you some audio from that and then give some analysis. So we got Mohammad Akbar, we've got Ricky Morton, and then we're going to tease at the end of the show to some news that we'll have next week for you. Some huge news related to Awesome Night of Legends, and can't wait to give you some more on that, but we'll tease to you a little bit. So that's all coming up here on our show. This is Awesome.
You all know who it is. It's everybody's favorite superstar, Carlito. And Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. Now that Carlito's here, can not only say it's awesome, but can also say it's cool.
Don't even look at your date book. Just remember the date. September 17th. Where should you be? Central High School. The place? Woodstock, Virginia. That's right. AWE's Awesome Night of the Superstars. And guess who'll be there? Somebody that looks just like a movie star.
Follow Awesome Wrestling Entertainment on Facebook. Get up-to-the-minute breaking news, videos, and tell us what you want to see. Because at Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, it's the fans that matter. Follow us on Facebook, and remember, this is awesome.
Joining us now is Mohammad Akbar, and Mohammad's going to be on our Awesome Night of the Superstars card in September in Woodstock, Virginia. He'll be wrestling against Fit Finley there, and then in October at Augusta Expo in Fishersville, Virginia, he'll be taking on Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hey, Mohammad, it's been such a long time. Great talking with you again.
Absolutely, Chris. It is 100% your pleasure to be speaking with me right now. You know, I don't do these interviews just flippantly. Obviously based on all the media propaganda out there against myself and against my people. So you should consider yourself privileged that I'm taking the time to speak with you while I drive around Louisville, Kentucky in my luxury sedan.
Yes, it's always such a pleasure, and it is indeed my pleasure to speak with you, and I'm not speaking sarcastically there, hint, hint. So we're talking about Mohammad Akbar and Hacksaw Jim Duggan in October, and you'll be wrestling against him. Obviously, a big pro-USA crowd will be, I'm sure, in favor of Hacksaw Duggan at our Augusta Expo show. Is that just another example, maybe, of the bias you have to go against when you're in the ring on a nightly basis?
Well, Chris, let me first start by saying that it is an absolute pleasure and an honor to be facing Hacksaw Jim Duggan, because I can think of no other master propagandist than Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who hasn't made a living over the last 30 years with a false sense of patriotism, and he
words there from Mohammad Akbar. And, Mohammad, of course, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, WWE Hall of Famer, former UWF Mid-South champion back in the 80s and 90s. It's a tall order for you. I mean, it's a big, and not just in sense of what he's accomplished in the ring, but he's also a big guy. How do you counter what Hacksaw Jim Duggan can bring to the ring?
Well, I got to look at this realistically, Chris. Hacksaw has had a long, storied career, and if I accomplish one-third of what he has done in his career, then I will be very satisfied. However, let's be realistic, Chris. I am at the top of my game, physically, aesthetically, spiritually. Hacksaw Jim Duggan will have his hands full, as I am a young lion, and a young lion is hungry. You've been to the mountaintop a few times, Chris, and you can just want the food there, but on your way up that mountain, that food is scarce, and you savor every morsel that you get. And I, as that young lion, climbing the mountain that is known as Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, will truly savor the taste of devouring Hacksaw Jim Duggan in front of the Virginia AWE fans.
Talk with Mohammad Akbar here on our show. And Mohammad, you talked about being at the top of your game financially as well. Gas prices are down. They have been for the last few weeks. Oil prices down. How is that affecting the bottom line for you personally?
Well, Chris, I am still living off of gasoline sales from 2001, so it's really not that big of an issue. If my portfolio takes a hit here and there, it's okay. I have a trust fund, Chris, that could bail out Wall Street and the European Union. So, if gas prices dip 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, even $1, it's okay. I'm still going to be driving around in my luxury sedan. I'm still going to have my private jets. I'm still going to be wearing $5,000 suits. And I'm still going to be wearing my Rolex watch.
Mohammad Akbar joining us here. He'll be wrestling Hacksaw Jim Duggan October 15th. Awesome Night of Legends in Fishersville, Virginia. September 17th in Woodstock, Virginia Central High School. Awesome Night of Superstars. You'll be taking on former WWE Intercontinental Champion Fit Finlay. I imagine another opportunity there for you, Mohammad, to make a name for yourself by defeating another legend in Fit Finlay.
I agree. Fit Finlay is the standard in this business. He is a superstar who needs no introduction. And again, if I am blessed to accomplish 1/10 of what Fit Finlay has accomplished, then I will consider my career successful as well. But this is another big opportunity in my personal jihad. And again, jihad refers to struggle. My struggle against your society's racist views can very well be advanced by facing and defeating a man such as Fit Finlay. And know this, Chris Graham, Fit Finlay and Hacksaw Jim Duggan are the perfect two opponents for Mohammad Akbar to prove that he is a force to be reckoned with in Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. He is the reason why fans will pay their hard-earned money to come to Awesome Wrestling Entertainment events. And Mohammad Akbar will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is the top superstar at Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. I can think of no better way to spread my message of acceptance and my message of social order than to face Fit Finlay and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And Chris Graham, once I defeat them, I will be setting my sights on the Awesome Wrestling Entertainment heavyweight title. And when I'm victorious in that too, maybe I'll buy you a suit so that you can wear nice clothes during these interviews.
We're talking with Mohammad Akbar here, and I think my wardrobe's fine, but I'll take you up on that, Mohammad, when we get to that stage. Giving credit where credit's due, you've had some memorable matches already here in AWE, and I was going to ask you, the sky seems to be the limit for you here. Your personal jihad, as you mentioned, I mean, you have your sights set, obviously, on the AWE heavyweight title.
Absolutely. Anybody who is in this business obviously strives to be the best that they can be. And right now, top of that mountain is being the Awesome Wrestling Entertainment heavyweight champion. Fox News and watch it for 5 minutes, and you will see at least 5 examples of race propaganda. And quite frankly, most Americans are stupid, so they buy into it. They listen to what Big Brother tells them. And unfortunately, Big Brother has been in bed for a very long time with the rulers in the Middle East, who have also helped to hold down our society. Now, sir, being as that I am a wealthy man, and being as how I will be eventually in an influential position, it is my personal jihad, my struggle, to educate and to correct all of this negative information that has been disseminated for over 30 years. I think that's pretty reasonable, don't you, Chris?
Mohammad Akbar, well, my personal jihad today, if you want to use the word struggle, was getting through the interview. But thank you for your time. Of course, Mohammad will be wrestling Fit Finley, September 17th, Woodstock, Virginia. Awesome Night of the Superstars. First chance to make a name in the fall in AWE, and then maybe another step towards that AWE heavyweight title. October 15th, Fishersville, Virginia, Augusta Expo against the legendary Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Well, Mohammad, thank you so much for your time.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. And just one correction. You, sir, are an infidel, so you cannot have a jihad. But other than that, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Wrestling fans, AWE's Awesome Night of the Legends. Saturday night, October the 15th, the Augusta Expo land in Fishersville, Virginia. The final countdown has begun. The main event, the most talked about match in the wrestling world. You're going to see the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, go face to face with Doug Gibson and Big Daddy Cool. That's right, Big Sexy Diesel Kevin Nash. You're also going to see in action Fit Finley against Alex Silva. Hacksaw Jim Duggan takes on Mohammad Akbar. A hardcore three-way dance as Abo Shango, C.W. Anderson all go against the hardcore legend himself, Terry Funk. You're going to see divas, Sonny, Gorgeous George, Baby Doll, and the three-time WCW champion, Diamond Dallas Page. It's Awesome Night of the Legends, Saturday night, October the 15th, the Augusta Expo in Fishersville, Virginia. Get your tickets online while they last. AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. And remember, fans, you don't want to miss this. It's going to be awesome.
You want to be a pro wrestler? You've got to learn how to do the craft. AWE has such a place. AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. Check it out. And check out what might be in store for you.
This is DA, your Asian redneck, and this is awesome.
Yeehaw! I promise you that would be an interesting interview, and no question was. Mohammad Akbar lives in his own world a bit, and no question about that. He's got a lot in terms of his confidence in himself, and he's got a shot. He's got matches September 17th with Fit Finley, former WWE Intercontinental Champion, and then, of course, October 15th, the big Awesome Night of the Legends show, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the WWE Hall of Famer. He wins one or both those matches, and he might be well on a track towards the first AWE World Championship. So, give him credit. He's putting his money where his mouth is. He's got a lot of both, and I think if his confidence in himself can translate into success in the ring, then he will be a force to be reckoned with here in AWE. Now, switching gears, we talk with Mohammad Akbar. Now we're going to talk about Ricky Morton. We have some audio to share with you. I mentioned earlier in the show, of course, you may have already seen, Ricky was here at the AWE offices for an interview earlier in the week, and we're running it over several parts because it was such a lengthy interview. And it gives some insight into his motivations for his feud with Kevin Nash. Oh, he's been agitating for a match with Kevin Nash for going on 10 years now, and a little bit of insight into why. And I'll share you the audio here, and then we'll come back and talk some more about the why.
And what you guys don't understand, there is no old school. There is no new school. It's just called the right way. And that's what I'm doing. I mean, guys, don't just throw us away. We depend on this business for a living. And I'm not out here to say that I'm sorry for what I said to him. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you guys that what I got to do is what I got to do. Because I've got 4 children that I raised by myself with no help, and I still depend on this business to do this. And I was going back to earlier, I don't complain, and I don't raise Cain about what they haven't done for me. But I'm hoping one day that you recognize that I did something to get you to where you're at, buddy. To understand me, maybe I didn't do nothing for you, but I paved the roads for a lot of people, guys. And for me to man up to that, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to man up to everything I believe in, and that's professional wrestling.
We know there's personal animosity, personal, pointed, Kevin Nash, I don't like you, Ricky Morton, I don't like you, but you also hear there, it's not just the personal. I mean, I guess I was a, English lit student in college. There's an archetype here too. Kevin Nash represents something. Not only is there personal for Ricky Morton, but Kevin Nash represents something for Ricky Morton. He represents, a different way of thinking than Ricky Morton has had in his 30 years in the business. And Ricky, he says there, the question that prefaced his comments there from me in the interview, I said there's a difference between the new school of wrestling and the old school of wrestling. And Ricky said, no, there's no new school, there's no old school, there's a right way of doing things. And, that's the perspective of Ricky here, certainly. And Kevin Nash, of course, represents, in my mind, there is a new school and old school. And he represents a different way of approaching telling stories in the ring and approach to matches and bookmaking and certainly competing in the ring. And that's what it's all about. And ultimately wins and losses in the ring. But you hear there from Ricky, it's definitely something there where he says, look, I'm standing up for what I believe in. There's a way of doing things that's the right way, and Kevin Nash represents a way of doing things, and in Ricky's mind represents the wrong way. And so not only are they going to be competing in the ring, of course, for a win in that big match, October 15th in Fishersville, Virginia, Awesome Night of Legends, but for Ricky, he doesn't want to just get a pinfall. And he concedes that it's going to be tough for him to get a pinfall over a guy like Kevin Nash and his tag team partner, Doug Gibson. But, he's standing up for all those guys who were forgotten in his mind, who were thrown away and left by the wayside as wrestling, went through the NWO era, the WWE Attitude Era, and in his mind pushed aside guys like him, like Robert Gibson, his tag team partner, Rock and Roll Express, like the Midnight Express, like, the Four Horsemen, Tully Blanchard, who's going to be with us coming up at AW Awesome Night of Legends. And he feels like, he's standing up for something a lot bigger than just Ricky Morton. And so, there's some insight there. We'll share more, of course. We have more interviews coming up next week. We'll share more as we can share more from those interviews here on our show here. This is awesome. So, hey, coming up after this break, I teased to you something a little earlier. Big news coming up next week, and I can't do much more than even tease that, but we'll go a little bit more into it. Maybe I can give you some hints as to our big news, huge news that we have coming up next week here in AWE. That's coming up. This is awesome.
This is Sanjay Dutt, the original player from the Himalaya. And when I get in the ring, you know what I hear? I always hear, this is awesome.
Big Sexy Kevin Nash, October 15th. That's right, at the Augusta Expo Center in Fishersville, Virginia. It's AWE's night. Oh no, not just any night. Awesome Night of Legends. Be there. I will.
The most amazing, no, the most awesome wrestling website in the world, AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. Up-to-the-minute news, videos, information on live events, purchase tickets, get your merchandise, all just a click away. AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com. Tell your friends this is awesome.
Okay, gotta do this. Thanks to our guest, Mohammad Akbar. Mohammad will be at the AWE Awesome Night of the Superstars, September 17th, Woodstock, Virginia. He'll be wrestling former WWE Intercontinental Champion Fit Finlay there, and then October 15th at the AWE Awesome Night of Legends. He's taking on WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So thanks for Mohammad giving us some of his time, and boy, he he really wants us to thank him for his time because, his time is very valuable to him. And, I guess it was nice. It was a nice time. Well, we'll try to have Mohammad back on the show later as we get closer and closer to those two big cards. But Mohammad Akbar joining us. And then we had some of our conversations with Ricky Morton that are ongoing here in AWE. Ricky Morton, of course, in that huge main event, Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson against Big Sexy Kevin Nash and Doug Gibson. And that's coming up at that AWE Awesome Night of the Legends. That's October 15th, Fishersville, Virginia. And Ricky giving us some insight into his motivations for that match. And so we shared some of that with you. We'll share more next week. But our thanks to Ricky Morton. So I've been teasing all show. We got some huge, huge news to release next week. It'll be next Tuesday, and we're looking forward to rolling that out. We can't say much, unfortunately, because, well, we don't want to give away our own big news until we are ready to do so, I suppose. But we have a former WWE champion, and who will be at the AWE Awesome Night of the Legends on October 15th. And we're not going to say much more than that, but a former WWE champion will be joining us. And we're so looking forward to telling you about this that, I'm just bursting right now, sitting here in my chair in the AWE offices. Cannot wait to tell you more about this former WWE champion who will be joining us. And, wow, just huge news that we have to release. And then, we're going to also have something, we're wrapping up the final details. There's like one, maybe T to cross and one I to dot on another huge announcement, a separate one that we haven't even teased yet on this show, but we'll be throwing it there pretty soon for our Bunkhouse Stampede. And all I can say about that is the lid's going to come off the building when you get this one. So not even going to give you any more detail on that because we do have just a little bit more work to do on that, but just a huge announcement for our Bunkhouse Stampede. So, man, we've got some things going on here in AWE that are just going to blow everybody's mind. Cannot wait to get more and more detail on that. But for now, we're going to leave it at that. Looking forward to next week. We've got some big shows coming up for you next week. In addition to our big announcements, we got Bill Apter, the editor of OneWrestling.com, will be joining us. Also, he's been a legendary editor of the Pro Wrestling Illustrated family of magazines. He's been known to wrestling fans from the time I was a kid. I was reading Bill Apter, so can't wait to get in there and talk with Bill. And let's see what else we got. We've also got Tully Blanchard, a huge interview get for me as far as that goes. Been working to get Tully on the phone for quite a while, and Tully's going to be at our Awesome Night of the Legends show. And Tully, of course, the former U.S. champ, former NWA World TV champ, of course, member of the Four Horsemen. I mean, there's so much with Tully. So we have Tully coming up, and then, well, can't tell you much else than that because I've got a couple special surprise interviews for you next week. But a lot coming up here in AWE. This is awesome. I mean, I'm not just saying that as a catchphrase. This is awesome. This is so much fun to do, and hopefully you gather that as you listen to these shows. Well, I'm Chris Graham signing off, and indeed, this is awesome.
AWE, Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, and this is awesome. Content copyright 2011 and exclusive property of TWF Enterprises, all rights reserved. More information online at AwesomeWrestlingEntertainment.com.